He's got the hiccups. Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Haley here from Should You Buy It, and this is part 1 of my pregnancy and delivery series. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm doing a 3-part series about how I prepared my body mentally and physically to get pregnant, my pregnancy appointment by appointment, and then how my delivery went. So this is part 1. For any of you guys who are wondering, of course it does say in the title. Anyways, he's got the hiccups. He wants to be held. So we're just gonna have to deal with that. So there's a little bit of backstory to this. Ethan proposed in February of 2017. And so then after he proposed, because we had already gotten a house the previous November, so we were already living together, which we had been living together for a while. We had a house, he proposed, and we were going to get married in February of 2018. So Ethan and I sat down and we talked, and we decided that after we got married, we wanted to start a family. That was what we wanted to do next. And we both agreed that that's what should be the next step. We were wanting kids for the longest time, and we believed that we were both in a good part of our lives where bringing another human into the world wouldn't be a bad idea. Whoa, one of my lights just went out. So we decided that we were going to get pregnant. We were going to try to get pregnant, and we decided to kind of start a little earlier because on his side of the family, his mom did have some problems with a couple miscarriages, and his dad had some problems as well. So we were afraid that he might have gotten some of those bad genes. So we decided to start a little bit earlier, just in case those were an issue. So I did get my Nexplanon implant taken out of March of 2017. It was due to be taken out anyways, so it wasn't really a big deal to get it taken out. It is a lot darker now. Everything. I've lost all my light, huh? Let's see if we can get some more light back. Say, Say, oh, I gotcha. There's some light. So I got my implant taken out. I had a very positive experience with my Nexplanon implant, getting it put in when I had it for the 3 years and getting it taken out as well. So if anyone was wondering. After my implant, I did go on the pill. I decided to go on the pill instead of getting another implant because Ethan and I were wanting to try to start a family here soon, and I knew the implant or the pill was going to be the easiest thing for me to go off of. So I took the pill pretty much from March all the way to September. It ends up how my pills were cycled through is my period was always at the end of the month. So I did take all of September, and then when October came around, I decided that I wanted to give my body a couple months to get all the extra hormones out and get a cycle pretty much started, so that we could know exactly when my period was going to be and all this other jazz. So I was off my pill by October, and starting in October, I did start to, well, before October, but October was pretty much the starting point. I was tracking my cycle and my ovulation. Now, I don't really believe that I was really tracking anything that was going to help me before then, because I was on the pill, and that can kind of mess with things. So I use an app called Flow to track my period and my ovulation. I had tried a bunch of different apps before, like Kendara. I think there's like Period Diary or something. I had tried those before. He is out. And I personally did not like them. So I decided when I started using Flow, I really liked it, and I decided to keep using it. So I tracked my ovulation and my cycle pretty much all the way through October. And then in November, in November, I went out and I bought ovulation strips to double check that the app was actually telling me when I was ovulating correctly. So can I put you down, honey? Can I at least put you in my legs? I'm sorry, but you're getting heavy. Yeah, I got you. You're okay. So these are the test strips that I did get. These are from, I believe, Amazon. These are the Pregmate LH one-step ovulation tests. These are not the cheapest. They are not the most expensive. I tried the cheapest tests and they did not work. They told me I was negative every single day. So they did not work at all. But these actually did work for me. So you have to get these, and they come, oh gosh, they come all individually wrapped in here, and then they're the little strips you have to stick in the cup. So I just went to Walmart and I bought some of those little like dip cups, and I had a pack of those, which worked out very well. So I used these to double check that my ovulation was on point with the app for the month of October and November, and it was. So in November, we actually did try for the first time to get pregnant. Since I was off the pill, my period was a little bit off. I ended up having periods at the beginning of the month instead of the end of the month. So it had shifted just a little bit. So we tried in the month of November, and when like the first part of December hit, I did get my period. And I was actually kind of sad. I was kind of sad that I wasn't pregnant. And so then I was like, well, it's no big deal. Like, we have just started trying. So I was like, I can't be that sad. This is the first time. So the month of December goes around, and I end up ovulating right around Christmas. And so then Ethan and I decide to try for a second time to get pregnant. I had read online that sperm or semen or whatever you want to call it, you are out, can stay alive in your vagina and I guess uterus for up to 2 days. So Ethan and I started 2 days before I was supposed to ovulate, and then we essentially had sex every day until one day past my ovulation. So we did all of that. I ended up waiting, and in the first part of January, I actually ended up what I thought it was my period, so I actually got super depressed again. As I had done so much stuff to prepare my body, I was already taking prenatal vitamins. There's also another vitamin I had read online that can help you get pregnant because it makes the lining of your uterus more sticky. I was taking that every day. I had mentally prepared myself. I had physically prepared myself. I was drinking more water. So when I started bleeding at the first part of January, I was actually super, super sad. So that goes around, that, passes, and I'm like, okay. So a couple weeks later, which I have actually written on my phone when, oh, the wrong one. So, so we ended up, editor Haley, okay. So I was actually super depressed that I was not pregnant. I had a feeling and I had an inkling that bleeding was something else. So I decided to wait a little bit, and I decided to start taking pregnancy tests. I started taking my first pregnancy test, which I have written on Flow, because with Flow you can actually do quite a bit of things. The first pregnancy test I ended up taking was January 23rd. It ended up being negative. It was a clear blue test. So after I took that negative test, I was actually super depressed again. I don't know why. I was just like, I'm not really pregnant. I'm just hoping that I am, and I'm not really. So I was like, okay, whatever. I took another test on the 28th because I don't know why, but I was having a little bit of pregnancy symptoms. My breasts were tender. I wasn't having any nausea at this point. And, I just was thinking, okay, well, I'm not pregnant. So I ended up taking another test on the 28th. It was a clear blue test as well. It ended up being negative. So I went online to Google, of course, and I Googled some things like, I feel like I'm pregnant, but my tests are negative kind of things, and I read online to try another brand, because certain brands can read certain hormone levels at certain points. So then, of course, I went online and did some more research, and I ended up finding First Response is the best brand to essentially figure out if you're pregnant super early. So I ended up buying a couple of the digital First Responses, which I like the digital ones because you can't really not read them correctly. They have died since then. I do still have them. But these also connect to your phone via Bluetooth, which isn't really necessary for the test to work. But because these tests do detect hormone levels really early, they take a lot longer to process. So I ended up taking these 2 tests on the 30th of January. So I took the first one and I waited forever, and it takes like 7 minutes. So you don't really sit in the bathroom that long. I was doing other things. And then I actually kind of forgot about it, and I went back to pee like an hour later, and I found it there, and I was like, oh yeah, I wonder what it says, and it ended up saying pregnant. I was pregnant, so I was like, holy shit, I knew it, screw you, Clear Blue. So I ended up taking a second one, and it ended up saying pregnant as well. So then, of course, you know, what every person does is you Google how rare is a false positive pregnancy test, and it ends up being super, super rare unless you're, like, on drugs, which I was not. So, 2 positives with First Response. Then I took a Clear Blue test that I had left over just to triple check, and that one ended up being positive as well. So I was really pregnant, and I knew it before the tests had even told me. So I figured that out on January 31st. Of course, that was, or 30th, that was like 2 weeks before my wedding. So then I told my family all that week because I could not drink at my wedding. That was the one thing, and there were certain things that we needed to prepare for wedding-wise, like if I was going to be sick or whatever. At that point, I figured out I was pregnant at 3 weeks and 4 days according to my app. So that's really, really super early to figure out you're pregnant, and I don't think you can figure out you're pregnant any earlier than that. So that was pretty much how I did. Ethan and I planned our pregnancy very mathematically, and I know a lot of people that try to do that and then they can't get pregnant and then they stop trying and they end up getting pregnant. But because of the problems that we had in our history, Ethan and I wanted to, I keep losing my light. So I'm like, oh God. Ethan and I wanted to double check that we were doing everything correctly with this pregnancy, and it ended up after 2 months we did end up getting pregnant. Even though, like, I know, well, I do know that even if you do everything correctly, there's only a 1 in 4 chance of getting pregnant. So that's why I was trying to be like, okay, there's only 1 in 4 chance. We did everything correctly, and it ended up not being, you know. But it was a super, super exciting time. None of my family, like, had even thought about, like, that I could possibly be pregnant because we knew we were all focusing on the wedding. And a funny thing was, so I went for my last dress fitting. So before all this, everyone asked when we were going to start having a family, and I said, I don't know when, but I'm going to fit into my wedding dress because I'd already bought it. I had bought it like the summer before, and I'd actually got it, they told me 6 months, so they're like, you'll get it in December, and I'm like, okay, cool, it's perfect timing. I ended up getting it in 6 weeks, so then I had the wedding dress forever. But I ended up going to get my dress fitted, I believe, the 2nd week of January. So after I had already bled that first time, which is considered implantation, and that's why they ask you when you had your last period, because it's technically implantation. Yeah, I didn't know that until now. Anyways, so then I went to get my last fitting, and I wasn't fitting in my wedding dress correctly, like not really the same. It was a little tight, and I was like, I haven't gained any weight, blah, 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 blah. And I was pregnant, and I almost didn't fit into my wedding dress, but I ended up losing a little bit of weight, and ended up fitting into it. So, but yeah, that's actually all I have for how I ended up getting pregnant. We were super, super mathematical with it. I really do suggest, if you are looking for ovulation strips, these were a very, very good brand. If you are looking for a tracking app, I do suggest Flow. It is a very good app. It is free, and it doesn't, like, you can have it to where It measures with temperature as well, because I know that's kind of a new thing. But you don't have to. I didn't, because I never wake up at the same time every day. So, what is this black string in his thing? Anyways, so yeah, that's actually all I have for this video. It's actually quite a short one. It's going to be the shortest one of the series, probably. So make sure you hit that like button and that subscribe button so you do not miss any more of these videos. The next one will be out on Wednesday, and then the last one will be out on Friday. But that's actually all I have for you. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye. Say bye-bye. He's snoring down here. All right. Bye-bye.